Are we live now?
Yes.
Alright, so I would like to request everybody to please stand for the opening prayer.
Put ourselves in the presence of the Lord, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Almighty and loving God, we gather before you with hearts full of gratitude as we begin this meeting. We seek your divine guidance and wisdom in this important process. Bless everyone present with clarity of mind, fairness of spirit, and dedication to serve the greater good. May we conduct this meeting with integrity, transparency, and cooperation. We entrust this process to your care and humbly ask for your blessings in all aspects of this endeavor. In your holy name we pray. Amen. In the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Alright, thank you very much for attending here. Again, good morning, and the Visa Numbers Committee is convened for the purpose of a special meeting and to tackle the motion for consideration received in this office. And before proceeding, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Visa Numbers Committee members. We are the Vice Chair, Attorney Brad Rabaya, our regional member, General Regional Muganay, and representing the end user for the construction division, Engineer Monrex Alapre. So out of 5, we have 4 members present, so I would like to call to order this special meeting. Our agenda for this morning is to discuss and resolve the motion for consideration received by this office for contract ID numbers ID number 24 is 00193. The title of the project is construction of 12-story, 42 classroom, 9 working academic school building at Don Vicente Rama Memorial National High School, Cebu City. And this is coming from 2 bidders. First, from Ario Aquino Construction and Development Corporation. Their motion for reconsideration later was received through email on December 15, 2025. Under the law, the bidder has 3 days from notice to file for a motion for reconsideration. And since the 3rd day falls on a Sunday, the next working day, which is December 15, 2025, yesterday, Monday, within the allowed timeline provided by the implementing law. So we allow, based on the timeline, the MR is accepted. And for the second motion for consideration from CDH Construction, joint venture with Total Development Corporation, which was received December 11, 2025. And may I request the Box Secretary to read the contents of the motion for consideration for the box for the Visa Numbers Committee's discussion. And first, from Ario Aquino Construction and Development Corporation. Please proceed.
Good morning, everyone. Motion for reconsideration dated December 12, 2025, addressed to Jerry B. Evangelio, BAC Chairman, DPWH Regional Office 7, South Road Properties, Cebu City. Subject, motion for reconsideration and the disqualification of our bid for non-compliance. Dear Honorable Members of the BAC, we respectfully submit this motion for reconsideration regarding the disqualification of our bid for 24H 00193, construction of 12-story to 42 classroom, 9 workshop academic school building at Don Vicente Rama Memorial National High School, Cebu City. Due to the reported non-compliance arising from our failure to attach our ISO certification as part of the eligibility documents. Upon review, we sincerely acknowledge that the ISO certificate was not attached to our submitted bid documents. This omission occurred because we strictly followed the document checklist downloaded from your official website, which did not explicitly include the requirement for the said certificate. As a result, our team overlooked attaching the ISO certificate, believing all requirements had already been complied with in accordance with the posted checklist. Furthermore, we wish to respectfully highlight that our ISO certification is already on file with the Central Office CWA, which is why our company appears as eligible in your system. This certification was previously submitted and accepted during earlier transactions with your office. Thus, we humbly request that this be taken into consideration, as the omission in our current submission was not due to lack of qualification, but a procedural oversight grounded in reliance on the published checklist. In view of the foregoing, we respectfully request that the BAC reconsider our disqualification and accept our ISO certification, which we hereby include as an attachment to this motion. Our company remains fully compliant with all required standards, and we remain committed to participating in the procurement process in good faith. We trust in the fairness, transparency, and sound judgment of the committee. We would be grateful for the opportunity to continue participating in this meeting. Thank you for your kind consideration. Respectfully yours, signed, Romeo U. Aquino, President and CEO, RU Aquino Construction and Development Corporation. Prestige Tower Condominium, Ortigas Center, Pasig City. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney Danica. And before proceeding, I would like also to acknowledge the presence of our head of the Procurement Unit, Engineer Odin Agrino, and our head of the Technical Working Group for the Business Hours Committee, Engineer Iris Magno, and its members. We will also hear from our Back Secretariat, Attorney Rita, Uos, and the rest of the new and staff. So, again, thank you for the reading of the motion for reconsideration of our European Construction and Development Corporation. This time I would like to ask the comments for the rest of the Business Hours Committee members and our technical people. All first, Engineer is Magno for our technical working group. Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so based on its motion for reconciliation, the movant himself acknowledged that the ISO certificate was not attached. So there's already an admission. But the question now is it true that it's not part of our checklist?
Alright, so can we hear from the head of the procurement unit of the checklist that appears in the bidding documents? Please state.
Mr. Chair, it is included as item number 10 in the checklist for technical component of it.
Okay, so that is part of our bidos, okay?
Okay. It's also discussed during, and it was also discussed during the pre-bid conference that the technical the checklist for this project.
Okay, so for his other argument, the movement states that we wish to inform you that our ISO certification is already on file with the CWA. This is a reason why it should still be accepted. It also states that the certification was previously submitted and accepted during earlier transactions with your office. So, on my end, we cannot accept this argument because this is considered as a modification of bid. And this is really stated in the Government Procurement Act, that the modification of bids is prohibited. Can you cite the basis, Engineer Leon? What it?
May microphone dito.
Anong modification of bids?
Any additional?
Attorney, I think modification of bids provide that bidder can modify his bid before the deadline of the opening of bids. However, if it's already after the deadline for the opening of bids, no modification of bids or additional bids are allowed. So that is what is prohibited under closing resolutions.
Do we have projects of previous projects of Ario Aquino or joint venture with Totoao, or it's either Totoao and Ario Aquino?
I think what they are trying to say, sir, is that their transaction is upon the registration of their company in the procurement service. In their CRC, sir, contractor's registration filed in the procurement service in Central Office.
So, yes, Mr.
Yeah. But this is an ISO certification. Okay, and it is clearly stated in our checklist that it should be one of those submitted. And we only apply here the presence or absence.
Yes,
We cannot refer to other documents previously submitted, especially other big docs. No? So again, this is just the presence or absence.
Can I have a copy of the checklist, please? I just want to read the last part of the checklist. All right, so there is a volatility, no? Below or based on the checklist. And I would like to mention any missing, incomplete, or patently insufficient document of the above mentioned checklist is a ground for outright rejection of the bid. So this is very clear, and it was discussed during the pre-bidding conference. So what is now the pleasure of the bids and awards committee members? Or other comments from the technical group? Yes, go ahead, Norman.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Upon evaluation during the opening of bids, we have found other several non-compliance from the end of the bidder. May I?
Yes,
Okay.
please take.
So aside from the absence of ISO 9001-2015 certification, we have also found out that no attached sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership from the bid docs. Additionally, no sworn disclosure of relations and beneficial ownership per section 81.1 and section 82 of IRR of RA 2009, which are all also requirements, sir, outrightly included in our checklist. And also, sir, their omnibus sworn statement, it is insufficient in substance in the sense that it lacks one item.
What item is this?
Item number 7, sir, of the omnibus, of the new format of the omnibus sworn statement prescribed under the new procurement law. That would be all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, General Magno. So, what is now the pleasure of the bids and awards committee members? Are we deny or consider the motion for consideration from the Ario Aquino Construction and Development Corporation? So, I would like to ask, out of 4, we have to vote. First, from our user, what is your vote, Engineer Calapre?
Deny, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. From our regular member,
Deny also.
from the Vice Chair,
Is it the findings are substantial, so for me it should be denied because I cannot also grant it because of the absence of these documents.
Alright, for the chair, also to deny, and out of 4, we are unanimously deny the motion for consideration presented by Area Construction and Development Corporation. Does take the journalist or what? Please ignore the letter, Secretariat. And we'll proceed to the second agenda of this meeting, and I would like to ask again the Secretariat to read the motion for consideration received by this office from City Construction Joint Venture for Total Development Corporation. Please proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Motion for reconsideration in the matter of the disqualification of Totowa Development Corporation CDH Construction Joint Venture. Date December 11, 2025 to Jerry B. Evangelio, the back chairman, DPWH Region 7, SRP Cebu City. Motion for reconsideration on the disqualification for the bidding 24H00193 construction of 12-story, 42 classroom, 9 workshop academic school building at Don Vicente Rama Memorial National High School. Honorable members of the Bids and Awards Committee, I, Kariyong D. Haji Malik, in my capacity as Authorized Managing Officer of Totowa Development Corporation CDH Construction Joint Venture, respectfully submit this motion for reconsideration, assaying the committee's decision declaring our bid as failed during the eligibility/technical documents evaluation held on December 11, 2025. Allegedly due to the non-submission of the official receipt for our special license application. Grounds for reconsideration. Item number 1. Substantial compliance with the requirements under Republic Act 9184. Contrary to the grounds cited for our disqualification, our company timely submitted a certification issued by PCAP attesting the filing, receipt, and ongoing processing of our application for the required special license. This certification clearly establishes that our application was duly filed, it is undergoing evaluation by the licensing authority, and our compliance with the licensing requirement is already in process. Item number 2. Valid proof of payment electronic official receipt was submitted. Additionally, we submitted the electronic official receipt generated by the licensing authority's online payment system, together with the transaction reference and proof of payment related to the special license application. Under existing government procurement rules, including the GPPB's recognition of electronic documents, system-generated receipts are acceptable forms of proof as long as authenticity and verifiability are present, which in our case they are. Item number 3. The alleged defect is merely formal and curable. Even assuming that the absence of a printed official receipt constitutes a deviation, such deficiency is purely formal and does not affect the substance of the requirement, the eligibility of the bidder, or the fairness and competitive bidding process. The Supreme Court and GPPB issuances consistently emphasizes that bidders should not be disqualified due to minor, non-substantive deficiencies when the required information and documentary intent are clearly present. Item number 4. Consistent with the principles of Republic Act 9184, disqualification should not be based on technicalities. RA 9184 mandates that procurement must be competitive, transparent, efficient, and fair. A technical, non-prejudicial omission should not defeat the overreaching policy of obtaining the most advantageous offer to the government, especially when the bidder has substantially complied with all eligibility requirements. Wherefore, premises considered, our firm respectfully prays that the Honorable Committee, number 1, reconsider its earlier decision disqualifying our bid. Number 2, declare our eligibility documents as compliant with the requirements of RA 9184. And number 3, allow our bid to proceed with the next stage of the procurement process. We likewise manifest our readiness to submit any additional documents or clarifications to the committee may require. Respectfully submitted, signed, Kariyong D. Haji Malik, Authorized Managing Officer, Totowa Development Corporation, CDH Construction Joint Venture. That's all, Mr. Chair.
If you're there, Attorney Danka. And for the comments for the Beach Hours Committee.
First and foremost, I'd just like to emphasize that it was, for this ground, it was disqualified not because of the lack of power. It was disqualified because, stated in the law, not only the checklist, that during for joint ventures, a special license is required. And for this bid, it was absent. There was no special license. As regards the OR, it was just cited as an example that there are instances that even if it's the process, because they submitted, during, for example, during the pandemic, there was a GPPB issue once that even if it's in the process, an official receipt will be accepted because during the time there was a GPPB issue once. We didn't say that for this one it lacked an OR, we just cited an example. What we stated was for this one, there is no such issue once granting an exemption or any alternate document. Okay, so what we mentioned, if you can present us and during your MR, then present it to us during your MR. Okay, and we also check, we also inquired from our central office, and apparently there is also no issue once. Okay, so as a matter of fact, in lieu of the special license, what was submitted for the TWG?
The bidder attorney submitted a certification in lieu of a valid special pickup. However, attorney, the certification states clearly that this certificate is issued solely for verification of application status and shall not be construed as a license approval.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, proceed.
So, again, can you read that paragraph?
This certificate is issued solely for verification of application status and shall not be construed as a license approval.
So that's Ipsalopitor. I think it speaks for itself. So it is clear it is not considered as a certification. So what happened was, instead of a special license, they, in lieu thereof, they submitted a certification.
Yes, attorney.
The certification states that it is still in process. However, again, can you read the third paragraph?
Again, attorney.
Yes.
So the certificate is issued solely for verification of application status and shall not be construed as a license approval.
So it's clear, it's absent. So if you apply the presence or absence, so, and again, as read by the chairman, insofar as Arlo Aquino's report is concerned, so it states here that any missing, incomplete, or patently insufficient document in the above checklist. So there are documents required in the checklist, and among the documents is special license for joint venture. So, okay, so we cannot consider it.
Yes, attorney.
By the way, I'd just like to state that there's a GPPB non-policy matter. Can you expound on it in engineering audit? There's a difference with JVA and a special license, which is a requirement.
There was an non-policy matters regarding this valid pickup license and registration for joint venture leaders. I will just read the comments from the previous executive director, Dennis learnees na kayo. It says here, we respond to your letter dated February 2011, February 3, 2011, and March 4, 2011, requesting clarification on the requirement for the submission of GB license by bidders forming into a GB in connection with the bidding of the DOT, this is DOTC, for the purchase and installation of the fictional aids equipment for Butuan and Tacloban Airport. As presented in your letter, one of the bidders for the project that submitted as a GB entity, it is being sought to be disqualified for non-submission of GB license as required under Section 38 of RA 4566, otherwise known as Contractor's License Law. Please note that Section 23.1 of the IRR of 9184 prescribes that the submission of a valid pickup license and registration in determining the validity of such license and registration, reference should be made on RA 4566, specifically sections 37 and 38 thereof, which is a specific law governing the licensing rules and requirements for contractors. A reading of Section 38 of RA 4566 reveals that two or more contractors jointly submitting a bid are prohibited from doing so without first having secured a joint license for acting in the capacity of such joint venture. In this regard, we wish to clarify that a valid pickup license for several contractors participating as a joint venture is the joint license provided in the information section of RA 4566. Corollary to this, a contractor's individual license as provided in Section 37 of RA 4566 is considered a valid pickup license only when such contractor is participating individually. This is further supported by the generic procurement manual for infrastructure projects, which states that in case of joint ventures, the license and registration must be that of the joint venture, not any of its members. The requirement for a joint license for GB bidders should not be confused with the requirement for a submission of GB agreements provided in Section 23.1 of IRR of 9184. The former pertains to the pickup license and registration required from contractors engaging in construction business as mandated by RA 4566, while the later pertains to the document establishing the status of the bidder as a GB entity. In light of the foregoing, while we agree with your observation that Section 23.1 of IRR of RA 9184 proscribes the Bids and Awards Committee from requiring submission of documents other than those enumerated therein, the submission of a joint license by bidders participating as joint venture is not considered an additional documentary requirement, but is rather the valid pickup license and registration required for purposes of determining its eligibility as a contractor. So we hope that we have provided sufficient guidance in the matter. Should you have
NPM mo sila?
NPM,
ATM.
non-policy matters.
Dali, okay.
Yeah. So that's very clear. From correspondence, NPM, what is that?
But, mo siya, legal opinion pa nila.
Yeah, so...
Opinion nila, ilang participant.
Alright, so again, I would like to emphasize the checklist that stated for this particular project, which is cited in number 4, that's our bidding documents, that requires the bidder its valid pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint ventures. So that is very clear items, the checklist attached to the bidding documents. So this is a big project, which has an approved budget for the contract of 880,294,821 pesos and 72 and really requires the the legitimate or a requirement that suffices representation. Right, Mr. Becher?
If I just like to answer point by point, I just like on the legal side, point by point, on the grounds for reconciliation, the 4 points, substantial compliance, valid proof of payment, alleged effects formal incurable, consistent based on the principles, which should not be disqualified. I would like to ask this, on these matters, I'd like to hear from Attorney Rita.
Thank you, Attorney. So on the assertion that the joint venture has substantially complied with the requirements under RA 9184. So as discussed, it did not substantially comply with the requirements because it is expressly stated in section 54.2b2 on the IRR of Republic Act 12009 that in addition that a valid pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint venture is required. And also the certificate that the certificate itself mentions that it does not it only verifies the application status and shall not be construed as a license approval. Clearly is not a substantial compliance of the requirements under RA 9184. So the assertion that a valid proof of payment of the electronic OR, so until such approval is granted, the applicant remains in the status as an applicant. So whose application is still subject to evaluation. So we still do not know yet if the applicant will be issued a license or not. So that is why it cannot be considered as a substantial compliance or cannot be accepted as an equivalent to a license.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
As regards substantial compliance, insofar as an absent document, especially when required not only by the checklist but by law, there is no such thing as substantial compliance. That's a major defect. In fact, it's clear in the rules that any missing, so for this one, it's not just incomplete or insufficient, the document itself required, which is a valid pickup license, is missing. I just like to point, so it cannot be considered. The certification, which in itself even states that it's not an approval, that does not constitute substantial compliance.
Okay, yes, okay.
So,
Next.
On the assertion that the defect is merely formal and curable, the assertions are untenable because first, the requirement of a pickup license for joint venture is not merely a formality, it is a substantive qualification that determines the bidder's eligibility. So it bears the determination of the bidder's fitness and are not simply compliance checklists. So the pickup license determines if the bidder is authorized or regulated to undertake such contract or activity. So the second contention is that it does not affect the fairness of the competitive bidding. It is misguided, I think, Mr. Chair and the committee. I think the bidder's assertion that this does not affect fairness and competitive bidding, it is flawed understanding because the pickup license for the joint venture cannot be treated merely as formalities that may be disregarded because it would undermine the integrity of the procurement process. So the effect would be, it would run counter to the mandate of our checklist, and if we should consider that it is contrary to our posted rules. And also, on the assertion of the joint venture that the disqualification should not be based on technicalities, because of this reason that of the overarching principle of the most advantageous offer to the government. So we must also, I think, Mr. Chair, we must also take into account the manner that best protects public interest and secures the greatest benefit to the government. Although I think
the joint ventures offer, he said that it's most advantageous, but we should look into other requirements that he will also comply, because that is the best, that best protects public interest under the principle of overarching. Yeah, if I may quote, Mr. Chair, there are Supreme Court decisions that for the principles to apply, they must first pass eligibility. No? They must be first eligible. And I would like to mention, we're not able to run the eligibility insofar as experience is concerned because of the absence of a specialized sense. So we can only run it through our CWA online eligibility checking if there is a specialized sense. For this one, we're not able to run it. On our online eligibility check. In fact, during the meeting, we're not able to publish or to post the results of the online eligibility check precisely because of the absence of the specialized sense. Okay? And I think there was, assuming for the sake of arguendo that it could have been run, I think there's also a major flaw here. Because there's a finding that there are other findings, right? In so far as experience, we'd like to hear from Engineer Oli. Assuming.
Looking at their stated, there is LCC, the experience for the project subject for bidding, to bidding. The category of this project is VIC, WP, MCCP, or buildings construction with piles, medium rise, concrete frame, cast in place piles, 6 to 15 stories. Its similar categories of works is buildings construction with piles, high rise, concrete frame, cast in place piles, 6 and above stories, or buildings construction with piles, high rise, concrete frame, cast in place piles. Looking at their submitted SLCC, although the amount is more than 50% of the ABC, however, the category of the project they have submitted is not does not match to the category that we have for this project. Checking upon the, because it's not stated there what's the really the specific category as they have submitted. Looking at the contract, there's no specific item that this project have work piles or cast in place piles. So granting there will be we can run the eligibility processing. So they will still fail as to experience.
Thank you, Engineer Oligad, and we may hear from the remainder of the debate that I was having.
To recall, as I evaluated the documents of Tutuwaw, I noticed that they are not attached also the ISO certification. Can you verify it, Ms. PWG?
Yes, Ma'am Rams. Upon evaluation of their technical documents, we have not found an ISO 9001:2015 certification. On top of that, no latest general information sheet or GIS reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by SEC for corporations was also attached. So, no attachment, attorney, so both are required as stated in our checklist.
Alright, so again, that is very clear, no? Once again, thank you very much, Rita, Boss, Engineer Odi, for stating the grounds and other discrepancies of the bidder, and again, based on the be a technical working group head, regional requirement was not found during the technical evaluation. So we will hear now from the members of the Region Awards Committee member. Members of the Region Awards Committee, which if it is they will accept or deny the motion for reconsideration from the joint venture company. Will I hear from the regular member or from the user, Engineer Calape?
I vote for deny, Mr. Chair. Denied, Mr. Chair. Denied.
Reps from the regular member?
With the lacking documents he has not submitted, I vote for denial of his motion for reconsideration.
Requester, please use microphone.
Yeah, based on the stated grounds. So, assuming if we'll grant it, these documents are based on the arguments. There are many lacking documents, and most especially, they have no experience for this. So this is really a major flaw. Okay. In any event, even if with their arguments, we cannot accept what they agree. They argued, and also we cannot also accept. We have a statement here. We likewise manifest a readiness to submit. So we cannot belatedly submit these documents because it is considered as a modification of case. Okay. So I move to my vote is to deny the motion for reconsideration.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. And hearing those answers, no, and technical definition and other references stated from the references, and hearing the denial or the vote or the votes from the other members of the committee, the chair declare the motion for reconsideration submitted by the joint venture company. This is from Tutuao Development Corporation, joint venture with CDH Construction, is hereby denied. Out of 4, we have 4 members voted for the denial of the application for motion for consideration of the second part. All right, so if there is no further business to discuss, there will be no further items on the agenda. Secretary? None? All right, so I would like to thank you all. Thank you everyone for your thoughtful discussion and continued engagement. And also the participation of the rest of the Region Awards Committee members, technical working group, secretariat, and our procurement unit. Thank you for valuable input. And hearing none, I would like the back meeting is now adjourned. Okay, thank you very much and good morning to everyone.